everyone, welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekan Onabanjo. The top stories at this hour. Labour leader Keir Starmer officially appointed UK's Prime Minister. Oko Jumbo-led lawmakers hold sitting in Rivers State despite appeal court ruling. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger military governments to hold first joint summit on Saturday. Details to come your way shortly. The news at this hour begins with developments in the UK, where we understand that Britain's head of state, King Charles III, officially appointed Labour leader Keir Starmer as Prime Minister on Friday during an audience at Buckingham Palace. A photograph released by the palace showed the monarch shaking hands with Starmer, whose party won a landslide election victory. The king earlier accepted the resignation of Conservative leader Rishi Sunak. Starmer's centre-left opposition Labour Party swept to a landslide general election victory, ending 14 years of right-wing Conservative rule. For more on this, our international correspondent, Afia Hagen, is here, of course, going to tell us more.
The UK electorate has spoken. The Labour Party have been elected to form a new government under the new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. The Labour Party won 412 seats in Parliament, gaining 211 from the last election in 2019. The Conservatives held on to only 121 seats and lost 250 seats in the process. Sir Keir has been appointed by the King, replacing Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister. Mr Sunak vowed to remain the Conservative Party leader until a successor is chosen.
To the country, I would like to say first and foremost, I am sorry. I have given this job my all, but you have sent a clear signal that the government of the United Kingdom must change.
Sir Keir Starmer has gone on to appoint his cabinet and will get to grips with the big issues facing the UK in the coming days.
I have just returned from Buckingham Palace, where I accepted an invitation from His Majesty the King to form the next government of this great nation.
Labour's victory came when Tory support collapsed, leading to a 20-point drop, leaving them with only 121 seats. Despite only a 2% increase in national vote share, Labour took the victory. The Liberal Democrats won 71 seats, their best result in a century. Reform UK gained 4 MPs. Labour's cautious campaign retained their polling lead, but they did lose some strongholds to pro-Gaza independence. For News Central, I'm Afia.
Meanwhile, after his opposition Labour Party defeated the ruling Conservatives in the general election, as predicted by many polls, Sir Keir Starmer pledged on Friday to start a period of national renewal in the country. News Central's correspondent Bernard Akede tells us more about the new Prime Minister-elect.
Born on 2nd September 1962, Sir Keir Rodney Starmer is a Britain politician and barrister who has served as leader of the Labour Party since 2020. He has been member of the Parliament for Holborn and St Pancras since 2015 and previously served as leader of the opposition from 2020 to 2024 and as director of public prosecution from 2008 to 2013. Following the Labour Party's victory at the 2024 general elections, Starmer is set to succeed Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Starmer was politically active from an early age and joined the Labour Party's Young Socialists at the age of 16. He graduated with a Bachelor's of Law degree from the University of Leeds in 1985 and gained a postgraduate Bachelor of Civil Law degree at St Edmund Hall at the University of Oxford in 1986. After being called to bar, Starmer practiced predominantly in criminal defense work, specializing in human rights. Starmer was elected to the House of Commons at the 2015 general elections. As a backbencher, He supported the unsuccessful Britain Stronger in Europe campaign in the 2016 European Union membership referendum. He was appointed Shadow Minister for Immigration by Jeremy Corbyn, but resigned from his role in June 2016 as part of the wider Shadow Cabinet resignation in protest of Corbyn's leadership. Following Jeremy Corbyn's resignation after Labour's defeat at the 2019 general elections, Starmer succeeded him as the party leader by winning the 2020 leadership election on a left-wing platform. As the Labour leader, Starmer has repositioned the party away from the left and towards the political centre. He has emphasized the importance of eliminating anti-Semitism within the party, a controversial issue during Corbyn's leadership. In 2023, Starmer set out 5 missions for his government, targeting issues such as economic growth, health, clean energy, crime, and education. Starmer led Labour to a landslide victory in the 2024 general elections, ending 14 years of Conservative rule.
In this room, right here, beats the heart of our democracy, not in Westminster or Whitehall, but in town halls and community centres up and down the country, in polling stations and voting booths, and most of all, in the hands of the people who hold the power of the vote. It all starts here.
With his victory in the polls, all eyes will now be on Sir Keir Starmer and the Labour Party to see in what direction they will steer the UK and how it pans out for the citizens, the country's allies, and its international relations. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
Now, to discuss this further, we are joined by our international correspondent, Afia Hagen. Afia, what is the mood like in the UK right now, knowing that Labour has won the election and there is a new Prime Minister in place?
Well, it's been a very rainy day here in London, where I am, but that hasn't stopped crowds gathering around Westminster. And, you know, the scriptwriters couldn't have made it up. When Rishi Sunak was doing his resignation speech, it was drizzling. And as soon as Keir Starmer came out to do his acceptance speech in front of Downing Street, in front of the Prime Minister's lectern, the sun came out. So the mood in the UK and in London, I can say, is actually rather subdued. This isn't like 1997 when Tony Blair romped a victory in that election. You know, we had those theme tunes, those songs playing, things can only get better. I think we have a slightly more jaded electorate, a slightly more broken Britain, as it were, at this time. And Keir Starmer reflected that in his acceptance speech. He was humble, he was gracious, he seemed to sort of really grow into himself. It's like he grew a foot in front of that lectern, and you could see the kind of gravitas of that power on his shoulders, but also the magnitude of the job ahead of him. He knows that he has a lot to do, and he said in that speech, you know, the country isn't going to flick a switch and come back on and be much better. He spoke to the people who didn't vote for him, and he said he will keep on trying to get people to believe in the Labour Party, believe in the government, and believe that the government is for them. He knows that he's at the start of an uphill struggle, and there is a lot to do. So there's a cautious optimism, I would say.
To be a charmer, Starmer being a charmer. But then, of course, you would want to tell us, looking at the handover of power that has started, what more do we need to know about this particular person that is coming to play and what the UK will be like in terms of governance moving forward?
Well, yeah, absolutely. If we look at, you know, the handover of power, where we are at the moment. So we saw Rishi Sunak when he did his speech, where he said he resigned and he said that he will stay on as party leader till a replacement is found. Then he went to see King Charles III and resigned his position. Keir Starmer went to see King Charles III, accepted to form a government, then did his speech outside 10 Downing Street. And now that we are in the process of Keir Starmer selecting his cabinet. Now, he's had a shadow cabinet for the whole time he's been in opposition, and what we are seeing now is those people walking up Downing Street, going into number 10 Downing Street, where we're expecting them to be offered their jobs. So David Lammy, who was shadow foreign secretary. We can expect him to be Foreign Secretary. Rachel Reeves, who was Shadow Chancellor, we can expect her to be the Chancellor and be the first female Chancellor as well. You've had quite a few people Streeting, Shabana Mahmood, who will probably be the Defence Secretary, John Healey as well. They have all been walking up the street to 10 Downing Street. What we can see on the screen here is Larry, the famous Downing Street cat, who has actually probably the most long-living resident at Downing Street. He has been in Downing Street for 16 years, so he's lasted a lot longer than most of our prime ministers recently. But yes, Keir Starmer now is about appointing his shadow cabinet. We anticipate that there'll probably be a cabinet meeting tomorrow morning. Like we said, the Labour Party and the Labour government are determined to get things done, and they are ready to work. And we can also expect to see the recess for summer that Parliament has will probably be shorter this year, as well as the Labour Party set out their stall, have a short break for summer, and then come back and get down to business.
Okay, so Starmer said he wants to start a period of a national renewal in the country. So what will be his first priorities as he takes office?
Well, actually, his first priority will be the NATO meeting next week. Now, that's a huge one. You're going to have lots of world leaders in attendance. And actually, we've been hearing from them on social media, Justin Trudeau, Vladimir Zelensky, different world leaders, Canada, Ukraine, so on, and sending their congratulations to Keir Starmer, our new Prime Minister. That NATO meeting next week is a big one. He's going to have to set out his stall of what the UK now looks like on an international stage. And then after that, it will be education, it will be defence, the National Health Service, cost of living crisis, how he's going to deal with all these issues that have been at the forefront of voters' minds when they cast their ballots. And now that he has this huge majority, he has to make sure that he's working for the people.
All right, Asue, again, thank you so much for helping us understand this better. We appreciate that. You're watching News Central now. We'll go on a very short break. When we return, we'll bring you more stories. Don't go away. Many thanks for being there. Let's now tell you, even as we come back to Nigeria, that in Rivers State, the State House of Assembly led by Victor Okojumbo has said it will challenge Thursday's decision of the appeal court on the assembly crisis. The Court of Appeal in Abuja had nullified the expulsion of Martin Amewule and 24 others from the Rivers State House of Assembly by the Rivers State High Court. But the Speaker of the group, Victor Okojumbo, in his opening remark during a plenary on Friday, said that he and his members believe that the appeal court erred in its decision. The lawmakers who met at the temporary chamber at the Government House in Port Harcourt, as pronounced in the executive order by Governor Siminalayi Fubara in December, also considered two bills. Still talking about politics, the Edo State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has insisted that Asue Ighodalo remains the party's flag bearer in the coming governorship polls in September. This is coming as Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja on Thursday voided the February 2024 election that produced Ighodalo on the ground that 378 delegates who were supposed to vote at the primary election were unlawfully excluded by the party. Marvelous Obomanu tells us more.
On February 2024, Nigeria's People's Democratic Party in Edo State held its primary election to elect its flag bearer in the upcoming September governorship poll. The ballot had 10 candidates, including the immediate past deputy governor of the state, Philip Shuaibu. However, Asue Ighodalo was announced the winner of the primaries by the party officials after securing 577 votes to beat his closest rival, the former deputy governor of the state, Shuaibu, who got only 1 vote. This did not go down well with the former deputy governor, who says that the list of delegates for the election was tampered with by party officials loyal to the governor who did not support his candidacy.
The people that I saw at Samuel Okmuras today were not delegates. They were staff of government. I said that. So as far as I'm concerned, I've been vindicated. I said it from day one that what transpired in Samuel Obomanu Stadium was just likened to a birthday party's reception or a wedding reception, because the authentic delegates were not there. Don't forget, I used the word authentic delegate, and I'm happy that the court has vindicated me.
The case was brought before the Federal High Court in Abuja. Justice Inyang Ekwo, while delivering judgment over the claims, voided the primaries held by the party, saying 378 delegates who were supposed to vote were unlawfully excluded. However, since the judgment by the Court of Appeal, there have been diverse reactions, as those loyal to the party say the judgment was taken out of context and dismiss claims that the election has not been nullified. The PDP in Edo State are also attributing the claims to the handiwork of mischief makers who are unsettled with the rising popularity of Asue Ighodalo.
This honorable court did not make any order nullifying the primary and the election of Dr. Asue Ighodalo as the PDP candidate who won that primary election by 577 votes. What the court said is that some delegates were excluded. And don't forget that those delegates under section 8414 have no locus to question the primaries. We owe the duty to this nation to tell the truth. And don't forget that my Lord Justice Ekwo, a very seasoned, very cerebral judge, did not make any order nullifying the primary.
A certified true copy of the judgment is not yet out to resolve the ongoing disputes regarding the position of the court. The PDP has also not made it clear it will be appealing the judgment. However, party faithful will be hoping that the rumors claiming their candidate has been disqualified from the upcoming poll remains untrue. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Obomanu.
We now move to Kano State, where a federal high court sitting in Kano, presided over by Justice Simon Amodeba, has given 48 hours deadline to two Kano judges, namely Justice Farouk Lawan Adamu and Justice Waira Yusuf, appointed by Kano State Governor Abba Yusuf, to resign their appointments. Justice Simon Amodeba gave the order while delivering his judgment in a case instituted by the former governor Abdullahi Ganduje, seeking the court to stop Governor Yusuf from probing his administration. Justice Amodeba said failure by the judges to comply with the 48-hour deadline, the National Judicial Council, the first defendant, shall stop forthwith the payment of any remuneration, allowances and benefits meant for judicial officers from the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation to the judges. And now to discuss this further, we are joined by Abdulateef Abubakar Jaws, Editor-in-Chief of Sule's Base Online newspaper, and he joins me from Kano State right here in Nigeria. Mr. Abdulateef, good afternoon to you. Mr. Abdulateef Abubakar, can you hear me?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Now, the court's order compels the judges to resign. How will this ruling impact the ongoing probe into Ganduje's administration?
What really happened is the fact that the two commission of inquiries that were inaugurated in April 2024 by the governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, I think the first commission of inquiry was to look at the issue of misappropriation and missing government property from 2015 to 2023, while the second commission of inquiry will looking into the political violence and missing persons from 2015 to 2023. So those two commissions basically will evaluate what happened within those period. I mean, that's 8 years administration of Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. But meanwhile, remember that there's another case instituted by the state government on corruption charges, I think almost about 8 charges in another court entirely. So this particular one is a commission of inquiry established to investigate these two issues. So when the government inaugurated the panel in April, the immediate past governor, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, rushed to the Federal High Court to challenge the power of the commission to investigate him. So when he got to the court and with the ruling of the court yesterday, the judge ruled against the composition of the commission of inquiry. That is the two serving judges, because Justice Farouk Lawan is heading the misappropriation committee and commission of inquiry, while Justice Zuwaira Yusuf is she's the chair of the political violence and missing persons commission. So according to the judge, Justice Simon Amobeda said because they are serving judges, they are not supposed to take any executive function again. I mean, quoting what the judge said yesterday, I mean, that was his ruling. So with that situation now, it is now left for probably Kano State government can at the same time appeal that ruling, because the ruling, the judgment the court gave yesterday, even giving an instruction to the other two judges to resign within 48 hours. Not sure, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't think that the law allows that for him.
But it doesn't seem as though the governor of the state, the current governor of the state, Abba Yusuf, has actually violated provisions of the law or whatever it is that his jurisdiction covers in terms of power when he appointed those judges. So is that in itself a problem?
No, one of the issues raised by the judge yesterday was the fact that there was a court judgment from the Federal High Court given by Justice Mohammed Liman that ruled against the Kano State government that the offenses related to corruption charges against Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, the immediate past governor at that time, cannot be prosecuted by the state government, but rather by Federal Anti-Corruption Commission. I mean, we're talking about the EFCC and the other corruption bodies. Those are the agencies that has that power to do that. I mean, to prosecute those matter before the court, not the state government. Be that as it may, the state government at that period did not appeal that judgment, that particular judgment by Justice Mohammed Liman. So I think with what the judge gave yesterday, the Justice Simon Amobeda rested on that particular judgment also, that the state has gone ultra-vires, that the state has gone beyond the power given to it, that the case should have been given to EFCC to prosecute, not the state government. I mean, those were part of his ruling yesterday. I mean, apart from the two judges that he directed that they should resign within 48 hours.
All right, finally, before I let you go, so we see that the court has actually directed the NJC to withhold the judges' salaries. How do you think this will actually play out now, of course, with this particular directive given?
No, with the order of the judge yesterday, he didn't say that the NJC should. The judgment was, he said they should resign within 48 hours. If they did not, he will now forward such situation to the NJC to withhold their remuneration.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what the judge said yesterday. So, but with the judgment yesterday, I believe that because when we spoke to the lawyers from the other side, from the government side yesterday, they said they're still going to study it and discuss with their clients. So there's every tendency that they're going to appeal the ruling. So it's still a case that I wouldn't expect it to just lie over there like that, because it might even go as far as going to the Supreme Court, because the state government is head-bent on investigating the 8 years of Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. And the Abdullahi Umar Ganduje is being the national chairman of the APC presently, is trying as much as possible to evade that also, because that was why he went to court to challenge the Commission of Inquiries. And if you look at on the other side, I told you at the beginning of this interview that there is a case even against Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje and 7 others on corruption-related issues at the State High Court as you speak right now.
All right, Abdulateef Abubakar Jos, thank you so much for talking to us. This is one matter that we'll continue to monitor as the event unfolds. It was nice talking to you. We'll now go on a very short break on the news. We'll be back in a bit. And I'll tell you that Nigeria's federal government has commissioned 12 compressed natural gas stations in the country. Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Gas, performed the exercise in Abuja and Lagos, with the gas stations featuring advanced reciprocating and hydraulic booster and compressors, including the fact that they hope to ensure that they dispense at a pressure of 200 bars.
It's already rolling out across the country. You can see the benefit. People are saying that this works for them. It's cheaper fuel, it's cleaner fuel, and it's accessible. And what we are going to do is to roll out across all the steps of the federation. It's already work in progress. We'll construct 6 CNG model stations spread across the country. Between now and December, you will see this happen. We're also taking another step. We are building an LNG station in Ajokuta, 3 stations, 1 belonging to us, 2 with a partnership. What this does is to bring CNG gas closer to its consumers across the country. Particularly, distance matters in transporting gas.
It's fantastic that Nigeria is utilizing its own natural resources to bring affordable energy to the people of Nigeria. And NNPC Retail is very proud to be part of this journey. We would like to thank Mr. President for his vision and determination in bringing CNG to Nigerians.
I commend the NNPC for living up to the mandates of their own establishment to work through and make sure CNG is available for Nigerians. It is irreversible, as they have said. I thank Tony Sube for the response during his own speech, because he responded to the question that the chairman of the board, Chief, asked me. We are talking about CNG. We are going into CNG. Are you sure we'll be able to sustain it? And when he said that from the production, daily production that we have in this country, currently we are only using 3%. That goes a long way to tell us that irrespective of the demands on it.
And I'll tell you that Nigerians have been urged to support troops of the Nigerian army in any way possible for improved security of both lives and property within their areas of coverage. It is only by so doing that issues of complicity and other forms of unprofessionalism will be tackled and sanity bestowed in the personnel and troops of the Nigerian army for efficiency. These are the thoughts of Nigeria's Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, during his media chat in Jos as part of activities to mark the 2024 Nigerian Army Day celebration hosted by the 3-Division Maxwell Kobe Cantonment. News Central's Chizoba tells us more.
To the grand finale of the Nigerian Army Day celebration taking place in Jos, the Plateau State capital. As part of activities to mark the NATCEL 2024, General Lagbaja said in a media chat Thursday in Jos, he is certain that sooner than later, troubled areas in the country will regain security.
I will not say we have established total dominance over the Mandara Mountains, but it's a work in progress. And our troops will continue to do that until every inch of ground is liberated and we have a handshake with the Cameroonians on the other side of the border. So be rest assured that a little while from now, we will clear every community, every forest where we still have footprints of the insurgents and make those communities safe for the inhabitants to return and engage in lawful businesses.
The general urged Nigerians to always support troops for more effectiveness on their delivery.
We are working in challenging operating environment to ensure there's peace and security for law-abiding citizens. So I appeal that they continue to support these troops with information in whatever way possible. And if these troops are found to be on the wrong side of the law, Nigeria should not hesitate to inform us. The Army toll-free line is open. Nigeria should call in. We will investigate every report and take appropriate action.
On the acquisition of aircraft to combat insecurity in the country, the Army boss said it is aimed at working together with the Nigerian Air Force and never in competition with them. In Jos for News Central, Chizoba Anyonwe.
And talking about peace building, amidst ongoing efforts for peace and reconciliation in Nigeria's northeast state of Borno, stakeholders from Ajari community of Jere local government area have convened a dialogue session aimed at integrating de-radicalized insurgents back into the society. The stakeholders, including religious leaders, local authorities, and community elders in Ajari, reiterated calls for peaceful coexistence and acceptance of former insurgents as the best solution. News Central Sumari Kirawa completes the reports.
An interactive session held at a community center highlighted the way out of the insurgency that ravaged the communities, emphasizing the importance of forgiveness and mutual acceptance to foster sustainable peace.
If I give you go to a memory lane, this palace was once burned down. Lives are lost. But it's the issues of past now. We have no option rather than to give chance to the peace. Let peace be.
It is better we embrace reintegration so that when we live with ourselves and with everybody, there will be that fear in them that they will not go out again to do evil. But when we reject them, they will say, okay, since you reject us, we are coming for you.
I just want to assure you that we are going to continue our collaboration with you. We are going to continue our support. All the support that we normally give, we are going to ensure that it continues.
The stakeholders enjoined community members to support the reintegration process, emphasizing opportunities such as access to farming and other livelihood initiatives crucial for rebuilding lives affected by conflict.
Sayinge adi isa bula namzanya lamar kun bare da ma isu kutujin go kuso nduso kenda Nigeria no ma mosona ni yerwa da yana da.
Those women who are now coming, in fact, begging their own babies to come and then undertake suicide mission within the society as they devastate our society, is they want to take revenge, they said. It is now left on the stakeholders and communities to understand and then address these issues properly.
Let us commit to actionable outcomes that will translate into real positive changes in the lives of displaced persons and our broader community.
The Edo State Council, as a champion of free speech, information dissemination and accountability, is dedicated to playing a key role in supporting this process.
The people hope that with peaceful coexistence in the community, with de-radicalized and reintegrated former insurgents, more peace and development can be achieved in the region. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
Let's do another break here. We'll be back with more stories when we return. Nice to know you're still there. The military rulers of Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger will on Saturday hold their first joint summit since seizing power in a series of coups. Niger's junta leader Abdurrahmane Tiani will host Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and Malian ruler Assimi Goïta in Niamey from Friday ahead of the summit. Their meeting will be held on the eve of a summit of the Economic Community of West African States. The three countries announced their withdrawal from the major bloc in January, and its remaining members have called for them to rejoin. The three juntas are hostile towards their country's former colonial ruler, France, and other Western countries, and instead have turned to other partners such as Russia, Turkey, and Iran. And away from that, South Africa, through the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition, is hosting the Africa Energy Sector Inward Buying and Investment Mission from July 16 to 19 in Cape Town. The gathering will see delegates from the African continent putting their heads together in dealing with energy security and foster investment. The event will also help cultivate business partnerships, expand market access, promote value-added exports, and showcase South Africa. To talk more about the benefits it has brought so far for the African continent and its citizens, and also how this initiative can be sustained without Western participation, we are joined by CEO of the South African Electro-Technical Exports Council, Chiboni Evans. Chiboni Evans, thank you so much for joining us to talk about this and to help us understand this further.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what is the purpose of hosting this inward buying and investment mission in South Africa? What is the scope of the event also, and what industries or sectors will be focused on?
Okay, so the South African Electro-Technical Export Council is a public-private partnership between the South African Department of Trade, Industry and Competition and the private sector in the electro-technical space, which covers electrical engineering, which is where our energy and renewable energy project companies reside, electronics, ICT, and digital technology. So this event that we are hosting from the 15th to the 19th of July is an inward buying and investment mission, which key objective is to bring in energy sector experts, buyers, investors, policymakers, project owners, to South Africa, and to sit around the table with South Africans and look at what projects are residing on the African continent that we can work together to execute and implement and make sure that we can build the required energy infrastructure that Africa needs. Obviously, South Africa does this because we do host a large asset base, both renewable and fossil fuel. So we want to share our experiences with the African continent and see how we can work together to build the infrastructure.
Okay, so I'd like you to help us understand Africa's energy capacity. How vast is it? What is the potential like? What kind of investments will be needed to accelerate or to scale up the operations within that space? And how much more can Africa benefit from these discussions and negotiations that will be coming up?
So South Africa itself, as you may be aware, is the second largest producer or generator of energy on the African continent, second to Egypt. We generate just under 50,000 megawatts of power, whereas Egypt generates over 50,000 megawatts of power. We are also one of the largest producers of renewable energy assets on the continent, with 6,500 megawatts in renewable energy assets that we've deployed around the country through our Renewable Energy Independent Power Producer Program. We have a further 5,500 megawatts, which are private owners and companies that have installed rooftop solar. So we've got quite a large base of energy assets that we work from. I know we have had challenges in terms of the sort of load shedding issues that we've had in the country, which we believe we're now beginning to overcome. But again, even things like that are some of the learnings that we're trying to share with the rest of the continent. So from the African context itself, as I said, I've explained to you who the two largest producers of power are on the continent. But we know that we're sitting as a continent with a huge energy deficit. In that we need to make sure that we get electricity to over 600 million Africans are sitting without access to electricity, and our target under SDG 7 is to get them all electricity by 2030. And we know that through the African Union Agenda 2063, we're trying to industrialize the continent very rapidly, and for industrialization, we need energy. So one of the things that we need to do is to see how do we make sure that we've got that base load of energy that we need to industrialize the different countries within the African continent. And whilst we industrialize, we manufacture, and therefore we can then trade with each other as we would like to do under the African Continental Free Trade Agreement.
I believe that a lot of people will be anticipating these big events that will be coming up. Chiboni Evans, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, we take a look at some of our top stories again. Labour leader Keir Starmer officially appointed UK's Prime Minister. Okojumbo-led lawmakers hold sitting in Rivers State despite appeal court ruling. And finally, we told you that Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger military governments to hold first joint summit on Saturday. Don't forget to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number and email on your screen. Well, you can follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekan Onabanjo.